gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Suds and Country. Hi, I'm Herb Sudson. I'm very happy to say I have Doug Gray of the Marshall Tucker Band as my guest. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Welcome to you, and it's good to be here.
Thank you. After 20 years, the MTB is still smoking. The MTB still blends rock, R&B, jazz, gospel, and country styling, and has created an American sound. Explain the American sound to us.
Well, we're just part of a lot of, where we originated from in Spartanburg, South Carolina, has made the influences come out. We were country, we were rock and roll, we were country, we were rock and roll, and we were jazz. And so we put all these influences together and just made a sound called the Marshall Tucker Band, which is pretty well Americanized.
After all these years?
It's the same feeling, the same sound. We go back to South Carolina. We pick these guys up that loved the band in the earlier days. They're about 10 to 12 years younger than me and Jerry, the flute saxophone player. And it's taken us about 5 to 7 years to get this thing right back to where we wanted it, and now we're real happy with it.
Is the new CD, Still Smoking, still sound Marshall Tucker? You'll no problem recognizing the sound?
There's no question about it. I mean, you hear my voice. It is a very comfortable thing to do whenever you got a record that does sound like it.
Let's talk about some of the songs on the Still Smoking. How about Frontline?
Frontline is a song during Desert Storm. Was the day that we started recording Frontline. It was meant to be when you're standing on the front line with a loved one, when you're up against the wall, when you're and just happened to be the day or the night that they bombed Baghdad, and we says, boy, this is really good, let's dedicate it, because it does mean character. It builds that if you have to have a certain character to lend an ear, lend a helping hand, and stuff like that, and that's what we were doing over there, I believe.
Tan Yard Road.
There's a road in Spartanburg, South Carolina called the Tan Yard Road. As I was growing up, and as well as my mother and father, this was a place that weird things happen. Weird as in people getting killed, never no real things happening. It's like an eerie place. You go there and you feel weird stuff as you're driving down the road.
That's a typical upbeat Southern rock tune?
It is, yeah. It's a little more rocky than most people would think of, would like of their taste. Instead of Fire on the Mountain, this is kind of a Tan Yard Road kind of song.
How about Carolina Party, an up-tempo, foot-stomping dance tune?
It's a wonderful song. I wrote it actually on Long Island, and we weren't able to check into a hotel yet. We're all sitting around in the lobby. Been up for about 18 hours trying to get from one place to the other. And I said, boy, this is good, about Hank Jr., because he loves Spartanburg. He sings about it in his songs. And then George Jones always had sold-out shows and couldn't make them back during that period of time.
How about Full Moon Rising, a bluesy style tune?
Nick Puglisi wrote that song. He's from Buffalo, New York. He was a friend of mine, and I really knew him more 10 years ago. I pulled the song out. I said, what a better time to put this song on, because it fits. Full Moon Rising in Texas. He's never been to Texas.
No kidding, but you wrote about it, huh?
You sure did.
How about Driving You Out of My Mind? It's a country flavored tune.
Got to have, that song's now on the Billboard charts, and it makes us feel really, really good. It is a song where this guy just tries to get his girlfriend or his wife out of his mind. And it's not that she was driving him out of his mind, it was that he wanted to just drive away and leave her. And in the video, the guy keeps seeing her face everywhere that he is, and he just drives on for 3.5 minutes. You get to hear that.
How about Two Hearts Falling, for pop oriented?
It's kind of weird that you say that, because we added a flute to it to take it a little bit away from the countryside. Marshall Tucker Band has always intended on such a song as Two Hearts Falling to use a good mix of harmonies, as well as, and then when you put a flute on there, it takes it a little bit away from the countryside. And we look for things to hit all different all ages, audiences, and whatever. And you put a song like Full Moon Rising there, and then you put Driving You Out of My Mind, and then you do Two Hearts Falling. If people listen to the CD, then they'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. We give people, we even have a slow bluesy song on there. There's a song on one of those the CD before this one, Southern Spirit, that will be released sometime at the end of February. It will be, we had that record already out with another label, and we just took that one and we're going to re-release it, because that'll be 19 albums that we have.
Well, you guys are humming.
It's incredible. We're still going though. I can't believe it. We're still smoking, right?
Still smoking. How does this album differ from Carolina Dreams of 1977 or Searching for a Rainbow of 1975? Happen to be your two platinum albums, if I'm not mistaken.
You're exactly right. These records, we were in a peak period for rock and roll as well as country. Okay, we put the same influences as we did starting with this this new Still Smoking record. We wanted to let everybody know that we've been out there continuing, and what we did at that point in time when those Carolina Dreams and the Searching for a Rainbow, we were on the road 300 days a year. Now we're on the road at 44 years old. 17 years later, okay, we're on the road to over 200 dates a year.
Well, you're humming.
Well, it's just like what we do here. We're getting to know people again,
yeah.
And it's more important to us now because we all are a big family, and it's good to be seeing people.
You've been labeled in the 70s as a Southern rock band. What's the definition of Southern rock?
Southern rock was there was a publicist down in Macon, Georgia at the time, and we were all sitting around in the basement, and this guy said, well, we got a publicity slogan we're getting ready to use. This guy's name was Dick Woolley. I think he's still in the business. And he comes up and he says, what about support Southern music? Like support your local police, but sure. It was support Southern music, and that's where it comes from. He actually, he penned it, and then everybody started using it, and it was good for the reviewers to say that. Southern music is a music that comes really from the heels to where everybody adds in and does the best that they can. They do the best that they can to make it interesting. You know, it adds all those different variations of things.
What's in between that, Southern rock, and regular rock music?
I think that rock music is something that can beat you tired. You know, it makes you tired. It's interesting, it's energetic, and I love it. I mean, we still have to do those rock and roll songs. I would not ever turn that down. But the difference is in Southern rock and country, which we're flavored more as today, people can understand the lyrics. They can relate to this guy he's so tore up that he has to get in the car to just drive it off, you know? And I think that's the difference.
Does it still exist today, the Southern rock sound?
There's no question about it. There's bands, there's hundreds of bands right there where we grew up in Spartanburg, South Carolina. There's a group called When You and I Were Around back in the 60s. It was called, and they from Spartanburg, called the Sparkle Tones, and they did a song called Black Slacks.
Oh yeah.
And they played the Sullivan Show, and that was kind of like an inspiration the whole time, you know. And then times changed, and then here we were on Saturday Night Live and on all these other programs. So it's an interesting thing to watch this Southern thing. More people look at it like Southern down there. We just say that when a band gets together, you get a guy from this high school, this college, or this stuff like that, and you put them together, and there's a lot of trial and error, and these bands do it, and there's so many bands down there that are good qualified musicians that are working hard.
What's the difference between Southern rock and good old American music? Is there a difference, or down where you come from, that must be good old American music?
That is what we are known, what we know is American music. It's American music to me is not necessarily one particular artist. It's all the different musics that are put together to make. Bill Clinton just did it, okay? He put all these musics together, whether or not either one of us voted for him, but he put it all together and made it a gala event to where more people got to see music in a 2-day period, and which is great for me and you and all these other musicians out here, because there is people out here that care. We're not out here just getting drunk and having a good time and staying up for 3 days anymore. We're all consciously putting an effort forth to make this country better.
You've been labeled over the years as a pretty diversified sound. What radio format would play Marshall Tucker music?
It's real unusual. We were just in New Haven the other night, okay? Rock and roll stations play us, okay? The country stations play us. That is the reason for our longevity.
Do they pick and choose the songs? Country station will pick out more country flavor, and the rock will pick out the more rock Marshall Tucker music?
Believe it or not, the rock and roll station in and I just named this in Connecticut because I'm familiar with these people there. They went on Tan Yard Road, which is more rock and roll, okay? And they went that way. But just over in another market up there, they went on Driving You Out of My Mind for us. Saying that they went on it, they played it off of that album.
Does that still, did that exist in the old days, in the 70s with the Hurtin' a Love Song and
in
the Soul
1974, Take the Highway, which was what we thought just a Southern rock song, went on the pop charts and the black charts.
No kidding.
Nobody knows that. I had no idea. They tell me that it was my influence of being, my basic influence was B.B. King and Dionne Warwick. I would go to those jazz festivals and hear these people sing and play, and that was my influence. The old days, Toy was the country person. Today, Tim Lauder is the country person in the band that brings these influences. Tim Lauder wrote Driving You Out of My Mind. And what a song. You know, if I write a song, it's a gospel-y kind of, you know, may we be closer today, start spending our time this way. You know, that kind of stuff. And if you add the countryside of it, you get a steel guitar bringing it in, and may we be closer today. You know, it's an interesting thing, you know.
First time I ever heard about the Toy Factory. What explain the Toy Factory?
Toy Factory was started just as Toy was getting out of Vietnam. Okay, people would look at us and thought we were manufacturers of toy products. Okay, we would go and play these shows. Toy had got out. Tommy and myself had continued the band while Toy was in Vietnam. Okay, Toy got back, and then I got my numbers. Okay, and they were called, and I went. So that was Toy Factory was the medium group of things. It was a medium group of bands that was happening during that period of time, and these guys were existing as weekend bands. Okay, when I got back out, Toy was out, Tommy was out, all of us got together, and I come back and worked in a bank for a while. You know, and then Toy was working at a plumbing place, and all these things were happening. Everybody had their day jobs, and then we said, well, listen, man, this if we're going to do this, we're getting to the point where we all had families. We need to decide if this is what we're going to do. And so we set a year aside to say we're going to work during the day, rehearse 3 times a week, and do this, stay off, and play on the weekends. Well, we did that almost 7 months, and then this guy come up and said, and we went and cut us a demo, and this guy come up and says, I want you to open for Jimmy Hall, Wet Willie Band, and we want you to open for the Allman Brothers. He said, we need a name. Marshall Tucker. We had to find it.
Where'd you dig up Marshall Tucker?
Marshall Tucker is a blind piano tuner. He's 82 years old, I believe, right now.
Today?
Still alive, living in Columbia, South Carolina. We didn't know this at the time. We had rented the basement of this hotel that was dilapidated, a hooker hangout, okay? It was appropriate for us at the time, okay? Because we was having a good time doing it. But on the key that we had rented and got from the guy that we rented it from, there was a tag, like all keys have a tag on it. It said Marshall Tucker, and we didn't have any idea who it was. 7 months later, this guy comes and said, we need a name to put on the marquee. We said, well, we can't think of anything. Let's add an Ale and call it the Marshall Tucker Band.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
You had quite a change in band members over the 20 years.
Tommy went away. Tommy went away in 1980. Just a year before that, Tommy Toy's younger brother died. And I think all of that led to the point to where Toy said, man, I just don't want to be on the road anymore. The rest of the guys really didn't want to go back to playing clubs. I didn't give a damn because the people in the clubs are the ones that put us right there at Madison Square Garden. You know, that's the important. But I can see the reason for those guys wanting to quit. And so Jerry and I called some people. They said, hey, listen, as long as you're up there singing those songs for those people, and Jerry's playing that flute and saxophone, it's gonna take you a while to move things around a little bit. But then what's going to happen is they will become relaxed with you being there. We're not missing some of these other people. And after all, we were a band with no one particular person being a key person.
Tell you, my friends, that about wraps up this edition of Southern Country. I want to thank Doug Gray from the Marshall Tucker Band.
Thank you very much. I've enjoyed this.
I've been playing your music on the radio for years, and it's a pleasure meeting you and having you on the show.
Thank you.
This is Herb Southern. Until next time, keep smiling and play Marshall Tucker music.